From the rain of Monza to Silverstone, and the first of two races here this weekend for the Formula Renault Eurocup. The full Silverstone Grand Prix circuit is in use. The cars making their way through the pit lane, round onto the grid for this 30-minute plus one lap race. Very different indeed from what we had last time out with a safety car start at Monza and lots of heavy rain and drama as well. Two races, two different winners. Alexander Smolyar won the second, which was the safety car affected race. Hugo de Wilde having already won the Open the day before, which you could argue was a more representative race where we had proper battling going on, but also drama at the first corner with Lorenzo Colombo spinning away his pole position. It's going to be a very good race, I'm sure, because on the Grand Prix circuit here, there's not only a long lap, but also a wide lap on which to overtake. You can slipstream, and we have the Australian driver, Oscar Piastri, lining up on pole position. He was in the wars a bit at Monza in the first race, for example. He got a broken wing, and that forced a pit stop and dropped him down the order. So Piastri certainly is a man to watch, and he is on pole position, with Alexander Smolyar, the best of those, now doing well within the championship, third in the championship after the two races in Italy, and he will line up second on the grid ahead of Kush Maini, and then Callan O'Keefe having a much better run, although he does know the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit well. But going very nicely in qualifying this morning. He's fourth on the grid in the best of the FA Racing by DriveX cars, FA Racing being Fernando Alonso, who was at Monza. So the grid will be formed shortly. They get this sort of extra installation lap round onto the grid, then we'll have the countdown, and then the green flag that will be underway, ready to get this third race of the season underway. It's a championship that follows the Blancpain series for the majority of its year, but it also goes off to race at the Monaco Grand Prix. It will race with ADAC GT at Hockenheim at the end of the year, and it goes to Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi in October. So it's a circuit that gives the drivers some excellent venues. Monza they've done, Silverstone, Monaco, Paul Ricard, Spa, the Nürburgring, Hungaroring, Barcelona, Hockenheim, Yas Marina. That is the calendar, and for many of them it'll be a first visit to Silverstone. But Oscar Piastri will have raced here before, partly in Formula Renault, but also on the short circuit, the national circuit as it's called, in the British F4 Championship. And the grid is forming, ready for this 30-minute race. Not a set number of laps. The flag goes out the first time the leader crosses the line once the half hour is up. There is number 11. That's the championship leader, Victor Martins, the Frenchman, who is part of the Renault Sport Driver Academy. And you see, if you didn't see Monza, what a current iteration of a Formula Renault chassis looks like. Significant changes for this year are, instead of a 2-litre engine, it's a 1.8-litre turbo. The halo device is there, and also it is now running on, for the first time in a long time, anything other than a Michelin tire. It's Hankook rubber on which the cars now run, and that's a major coup for the Korean company to embed with Formula Renault, that's, as I said, had this very patriotic history with the tire supplier. So the Hankook rubber, and therefore it's all changed for Silverstone. New car, new tyres, little data to go from. They had testing on Thursday. They had an official test on Friday, qualifying this morning, and Oscar Piastri topping the times by just 0.2 of a second from Alexander Smolyar, who is one of the drivers that will be learning about Silverstone. Alexander Smolyar, who was the driver 12th in the championship last year, whereas Oscar Piastri was 8th in the championship last year with 2 podium finishes. The cars, as you can see, slot themselves into place on the grid, and there you've got the teams ready to do final checks just to make sure that everything is okay before they let the drivers to it for half an hour, plus that regulation lap tacked on at the end. So as the grid is formed, we'll go through it once everybody's in place, but just to see where the gaps are. Some people still coming out of Woodcote ready to form up on the grid, including number 42 of Yves Baltas. But as I say, it's Oscar Piastri who is the man that will line up on pole position. There, Alexander Smolyar, winner at Monza in race 2. He's third in the championship. And as you will have gathered from the colour scheme of the car, it is an SMP Racing-backed effort, but it's run by the R-Ace GP squad, which has been for a long time one of the crack teams within junior single-seater racing, and that continues going into this season as well. So Smolyar there is the man on the inside of the front of the grid. Now, that is the place where you've got the inside line for the first corner, but also you have the disadvantage of being a length back. So Smolyar, when we get to the start of the race, will be on the tighter, shorter inside line, but he'll be a length back and won't have the grip either, because the racing line is the outside line. So pole position in that beneficial place on the outside of the road. And Oscar Piastri for the same team, our ace GP, the Australian driver, is there, good, ready to go. So the man from Melbourne is there, ready for pole position. Down on the grid, not only is Oscar Piastri, but also Pierre Meyner, the managing director of GP Extreme, and he is ready to talk to our reporter, Dakota Jane, at the front of the grid.
Pierre, what a lovely sunny day it is here at Silverstone. As expected, exactly. You have a new collaboration with Formula Renault here. Tell me about that collaboration with GP Extreme.
Yeah, we are very proud to be the official partner of the Formula Renault this year. There is a lot of young talent in this series. We want to help the young drivers to build their career. We want also to build a strong relationship with Renault. We're gonna promote as well the Renault Eurocup in Middle East. I mean, it's a long love story with Renault, because we use also to race with some RS01 in Dubai. And now we really want to help this young driver. I mean, the races are always incredible. So we're so happy to be part of this project.
I bet you're going to love watching this race with your sponsor all over it, yes?
Yeah, for sure. It's so nice to see all these cars with the GP Extreme sticker. So we're very exciting.
We're both excited. Yeah. Have a good race. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the grid is formed, and very shortly we will be getting underway for the final formation lap. There is Kushmaini, the Indian driver. He will line up for third on the grid. He's fourth equal in the championship with Hugo de Wilde, the driver that won the first race at Monza. Now de Wilde will line up ninth on the grid, so he's got a bit of work to do here. Kushmaini, whose elder brother Arjun Maini used to race in British Formula 4, Formula 3 and GP3 last year. And the grid is good to go. We've got 20 cars in total. Brad Benavides is at the back for the FA racing team. FA Racing by DriveX, to give it its full title. And in a few moments we'll have a stroll up that grid, ready for 30 minutes of racing, with Oscar Piastri, as I say, on pole position. 2 podiums last year in British Formula 4, going back to 2017. He was the runner-up in the championship. He had 6 victories, 15 podiums, and he'd also done some Formula Renault NEC races and the Formula 4 UAE championship in the winter of that season. So Piastri has done a lot of racing. Increasingly rare to find a single-seater driver nowadays from Australia. They're all going the GT route or touring cars back home. So Oscar Piastri, on the outside as you look at it, is the man on pole position. And we'll get out of the way. We can have a walk up the grid, because the opposition will come up against the pit wall from Alexander Smolyar in the second of the R-Race GP entries. Smolyar, having in the red, white and blue livery there, won the second race at Monza. Go back a row. Third on the grid is where you find Kushmaini, the Indian driver, and then towards the pit wall, 1 car's length back, is Callan O'Keefe, and he drives for the FA Racing by DriveX team. Fifth is the very Renault liveried car, the black and yellow works colours of Academy driver Caio Collet, the Brazilian driver. And then for 6th on the grid, going quite nicely in qualifying this morning, is Petr Potacek, who drives for the Bitec team. 7th on the grid is where you find João Vieira. He drives for JD Motorsport there in the green and white and silver colours, and then another of the Renault liveried cars for another of the Academy drivers. The championship leader, starting 8th on the grid, Victor Martins there, who drives number 11 for MP Motorsport. Then Hugo de Wilde in the blue and pink colours. Next to him is Lorenzo Colombo. So the man that's 4th in the championship, the man that's 6th in the championship, together there on the 5th row, both with work to do. Behind them comes Lucas Alaco Roy for M2, having missed Monza, and with him is Monza-born Federico Malvestiti. Lorenzo Lorandi, 2nd in the championships, a long way back. He comes next, ahead of Amaury Cordil. Yves Baltas next with a grid drop for an infringement in qualifying, and then the British driver, the only Brit on the grid, Frank Bird for Arden, comes next. Patrick Pasma there for Arden is a long way back, but he's outpaced the GRS car of Xavier Lloveras, and then it's Patrick Schott on the penultimate rank on the grid, with Brad Benavides rounding out the 20-strong entry. That is Formula Renault Eurocup. The start grid for race 1 formed, and in a moment or two the cars will be released. The grid always cleared at the 1-minute board. Engines fire up, everybody off the grid, and if Tamas Zetner, who is the race director, is happy, he will give the 1-minute board, and then, the 30-second board now, and then at the end of that, the green flag to release everybody into the final warming up lap. And let's see whether we're going to have a third different winner out of the 3 races then. There's the green flag, so everybody now is released. The cars sprint off down towards Copse Corner. And it will be Oscar Piastri that leads them away. Runner-up in British Formula 4 2 years ago, 8th in Formula Renault Eurocup last year, not wanting to play. Brad Benavides, who seemingly can't find a gear now. Oh, and now he stalls. So if he gets going at all, he's going to be at the back of the grid come what may. He was slowest in qualifying, but I think that car's about to be pushed off the grid, and if it will start, it will now have to start from the pit lane if it gets into the race at all. So Benavides then, I'm afraid it's not been a happy start to the year for the FA Racing by DriveX team. They lost all 4 cars in independent accidents at Monza, and Benavides either from the pit lane or not starting at all here at Silverstone as they weave their way down Hanger Straight. As cars get quicker, that straight looks a lot shorter, but into Stowe Corner, getting the warmth into the Hankook rubber and the pressure's up as they then turn through Stowe and then drop down through Vale. So it's Patrick Scott at the back of the grid. There is Benavides. The team trying to fire up the car, but it does not want to play for the moment, does it? And there it sits. So the field comes out of Club Corner, ready to sprint past the wing up towards Abbey. This is the start area for the British Grand Prix that comes to Silverstone in July, where of course there'll be a Renault presence with Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg. Down they come now through Abbey, then left at Farm, and a word about Kush Miley, who's going to be the man starting on the outside of the second row of the grid. The Indian driver comes from Bangalore, 3rd in British F3 last year with a win. Raced also in Italian and German Formula 4, so he's done a lot of single-seater racing in a short space of time. Callan O'Keefe we've had here in Formula Renault for a number of seasons, going all the way back to 2014. He had a win in the Formula Renault NEC. He's raced in the Eurocup on and off as well. He's raced in British F3 within the 2016 season. He's done a bit of sports car racing with LMP3. He's raced in the States in single-seater racing. He's done quite a bit of driver coaching as well. So Callan O'Keefe has Silverstone knowledge, and it was a good qualifying effort by the South African this morning. So he again could be one to watch. Brad Benavides then is the man having to start from the pit lane, born in Florida to a Guatemalan and Colombian family. And Benavides has been racing in Spain in recent years, but he's going to be, as I say, from the back, if he gets into the race at all, a pit lane start. So trickling their way out of Luffield up towards Woodcote Corner they come. Oscar Piastri trying, of course, to bunch up everybody. Then he's not sat on the grid for a long, long time, but it's a trickle now as they come very, very slowly up towards the grid. These much larger looking Formula Renault cars, Tatius chassis, 1.8 litre turbocharged engine. And Piastri heads to the grid there. 28 is racing returnee João Vieira, after a couple of seasons away, making his return. The Brazilian driver, former Brazilian karting champion, comes from Gurupi and drove in Italian F4 as well as South American F4 back in 2016. But it's good to have him back after, as I say, a couple of seasons away. So grid forming, still the last few cars pour through Woodcote Corner. Oscar Piastri waits and waits and waits at the very front of the grid. We should be ready to go very shortly. And are we good? Patrick Scott is the last man into place. Everybody then is ready to go. Can Oscar Piastri make the bolt from the start? The green flag he showed at the back, meaning everybody's where they should be, back from the warming up lap. 30 minutes plus a lap. Race 3 of Formula Renault Eurocup is go. Good start by Smolyar. Good getaway also is made by Potacek as they run down towards Copse Corner, but it's going to be on the inside line. Smolyar, who despite being a length back, has got the drop on Piastri. He's got the inside line, side by side, wheel to wheel. They run up towards Magnus for the first time. Oscar Piastri from pole position has the outside line going into Becky's, but he manages to go right round the outside of Smolyar to get the race lead. Very brave stuff. Somebody's run very wide all over the dirt. There are more going off the road as well, including Collett there, who gets back onto the circuit. He's all sideways. De Wilde has to avoid him. Martins gets airborne as he bounces wide coming out of Chapel Curve and back onto Hanger Straight. But Oscar Piastri, massively brave move that, puts him into the lead of the race. Crawling all over him is Smolyar in second place, down towards Stowe Corner for the first time. Piastri leads the way. Smolyar looking for a way to get past him there now as they run down through Vale. These two already getting away from the opposition. As to the outside line goes Smolyar. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Right round the outside at the end of Vale. That's the inside line for the first part of Club Corner. Piastri gets forced out wide over the curve. He'll try and get the run off the corner, but he's going to go wide up the curve again. He'll be on the outside line. There's another airborne car in the background, crash landing back to earth. That I think might have been Potacek as they come up towards Abbey. Smolyar is on the inside line. Again, Piastri forced wide over the curbing. They're still side by side. Brilliant racing this, but Smolyar going into Village has the advantage, but he's on the wrong line for the next corner. If Piastri can stand his ground, he's going to get the lead back on the inside of the loop. They're still wheel to wheel. They've been side by side for 3 corners, if not more. And finally, Smolyar goes ahead, secures the line going through that left-hander of Aintree, but he's now got Piastri in the slipstream as they come down towards the end of Wellington Straight. Onto the outside line goes Oscar Piastri, and he's going to try to drive around the outside at Brooklands and give him the inside line for Luffield. He's up the curb and he's sideways. Has he got the line? Has he got the lead? Not yet, not yet. Still side by side as they come off the corner. Smolyar with his nose in front. Brilliant racing this. And it is going to be the Russian who leads at the end of lap 1. Alexander Smolyar leads the way. Second is Oscar Piastri. And after all of the drama between them, there are other people in the race. And third is Kushmini. Fourth is Potacek. Vieira is fifth. Up to sixth is Ugo de Wilde. Seventh is O'Keefe. Eighth is Collett. Ninth is Lorandi. 10th is Pasma, who's had a pretty decent start. The cars accelerate out of Copse Corner. And so Smolyar leads the way by 0.111 of a second. That was all over the line. Now that he's hit the front, finally, is he going to be able to get away from the Australian in second place? Everybody pouring their way out of the Beckett's S's onto Hanger Straight for the second time. 30-minute race, remember? And let's try and piece together exactly what happened at the start. So everybody blasts away, and as the cars sprint down towards Copse Corner, it was that great start by Smolyar, making up that length from the staggered grid that put him on the inside line, but that was only the start of the battle, wasn't it? So he leads the way down to the end of Vale. Benavides is still in the pit lane as far as I can see, and we've lost Frank Bird somewhere on that opening lap of the race. Frank Bird, the British driver, is not through even the first sector. So Frank Bird, I'm afraid, has come to grief somewhere. There's a turn 3 incident involving Kai Collett. That's being looked at. Another one running very, 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 very wide in the background. I think that was Patrick Schott getting the wrong side of Yves Baltat, but the field go now through Abbey up towards Farm. 51 you saw there is pressing on. Federico Malvestiti way, way back in 15th place after a poor first lap. He tries to go around the outside there to gain ground. Malvestiti does go through on the inside of Xavier Lloveras. So through they come, out of Aintree. Race leading gap now just starting to creep up a little bit. Smolyar was quicker in the first sector, quicker in the second. Battles rage on there. Look, as Kushmini has lost his third place now because Petr Potacek has gone past him. Potacek up into third spot. Fifth at the back of this little battle pack. There he is João Vieira. And then sixth is Ugo de Wilde, who need to get a bit of a wriggle on with Smolyar leading the way, because that's going to be excellent news for Smolyar for the championship. I know it's early days, but you need to score and score well in a long season like this. Through they come. 2 laps are in the book. And Smolyar to Piastri, the gap going up to 7/10 of a second. Petr Potacek third. Kushmini is down to fourth. João Vieira is fifth. Another one goes way out wide there at Copse. Sixth is de Wilde. Seventh is O'Keefe. Collett is in 8th place. 9th it is now the car of Leonardo Lorandi, and 10th is Patrick Pasma. Pasma, remember, started 17th on the grid, so he had a demon first lap. The delayed Benavides comes now through, so he's just done a lap. We found Frank Bird somewhere, and this is a replay of Collett getting all hooked up over the grass on the inside and then on the outside, all on lap 1, remember. He gets back onto the road, others scatter. Look at the second yellow and black car, hits the curb, hits the bump, bounces wide, and then another very spectacular drama in the background there, coming off Club Corner. That was Potacek. João Vieira is under attack here for his 5th place. Ugo de Wilde is heading the charge, then Callan O'Keefe, then the recovering Chai Collett next up as they come down towards Abbey. So Vieira it is, only just keeping the place at the moment. Right there on his tail is de Wilde. 5th and 6th they run. Ugo de Wilde with a win and a retirement at Monza to his name. Comes now into the braking zone for Village, turns right, left, up towards the loop. Kushmini trying to get his 3rd place back incidentally from Petr Potacek, having a much, much better run here than he did at Monza. The cars now slingshot their way onto Wellington Straight once more. Up front, though, Alexander Smolyar is getting away, no question about that, because now Oscar Piastri losing touch with him a little bit, dropping away there, a dive to the inside line, trying to get a place back. That's Victor Martins going through on the inside line, and that will put him 12th at the expense of Lucas Roy now. So Martins delayed, as we'd seen in the replay, at Chapel Curve on the opening lap, trying now to make amends as the cars pour their way once again through Copse Corner. Through they turn. Smolyar, 8/10 to the good. Smolyar has done the fastest lap of the race now, as there a challenge is made on the inside line. Yves Baltas comes out to have a go at Xavier Lloveras, but he can't find a way past. And it won't be long, I fear, before the track limit warnings come, because we've got so many of them running very, very wide going through Copse Corner. De Wilde under attack as he comes now onto Hanger Straight once more. Now Piastri on this lap has just done an absolute best in the first sector, bringing down the gap as there De Wilde is under attack. Callan O'Keefe looking to try to find a way past him. O'Keefe has dropped back from where he was on the grid, but he's trying to make amends, and he's on the tail there of the Belgian driver as they drop down through Vale. Cushmini is the one that we have lost out in all of this. He's down to 8th place, but round the outside of De Wilde now goes O'Keefe. He's done it, he's gone through. Will he go wide? Callan O'Keefe pull away though. De Wilde tries to fight back as they come out of club, past the wing, and up now towards the right-hander of Abbey. Behind these two is the recovering Charles Collet as he tries to find a way onto terms with Hugo De Wilde. But De Wilde then down in 6th place now, and remember his championship rival Alexander Smolyar is leading the race and getting away. Good battles go on lower down the order. We've still got 22 minutes and a lap still to run though, don't forget. So there's plenty of time for them to sort themselves out. Coming now through that left of Aintree onto Wellington Straight, and then speed building as they plunge downhill towards the left-hander once again at Brooklands. De Wilde under attack, Collett up behind him. Frank Bird, incidentally, I was getting worried about on the opening lap. He is still running, he is 18th. The reason for the concern is that the transponder was packed up, so that's why he wasn't being recorded initially. But he is there, but he's dropped back to 18th place. Through goes number 2, Charles Collett, then in 7th place. Over the timing line, the order is Smolyar, Piastri, Patacek, Vieira. Up to 5th is O'Keefe, and down to 6th is De Wilde. 7th is Collett, 8th is Laurandi now. Cushmini is down to 9th, he must have a problem. And 10th is now Lorenzo Colombo. So Cushmini running 3rd on the opening lap, lost out to Patacek, and he's then gone tumbling down to 9th place, and perhaps worse is to come. Down the Hanger Straight goes the race leader, Alexander Smolyar, but the gap is down a little bit, look, between him and Piastri. Down to half a second last time, Piastri having done the fastest lap of the race. Into Stoke Corner, 3rd is Patacek. And remember, everybody in this championship with the same base, car, engine, tyre. It's down to your drivers and your ability as a driver and your team and how well you work together with your engineer to get the best out of the combination. To the end of Vale, Victor Martins looking for a way by. So Martins, championship leader, only in 11th place. Smolyar 3rd in the championship, apologies, but remember he is the best placed on the grid of those in the hunt for the championship early stages. So he's building the points gap over De Wilde. Leonardo Laurandi, who is 2nd in the championship, is up to 8th in the race. So he's making a bit of progress, and as the leaders come up towards the left-hander of Aintree for this, the 5th time of asking. The gap between the leaders extending in Sector 1, extending again in Sector 2. So Smolyar is responding to the challenge of Piastri and getting away. Victor Martins, though, is having a pretty horrible race down in 11th place. He has gained ground here at the expense last time of Patrick Pasma. But the second of the yellow perils, there it is, coming into Brooklands with work to do. Cushmini with a little bit of a lock-up. Lorenzo Colombo tucked up behind him, and then Victor Martins next in the queue. Silverstone, an important circuit for Renault in its heritage. It was here, remember, in 1977 that the turbocharged Formula 1 Renault made its debut with Jean-Pierre Jabouille at the wheel. People mocked the so-called yellow teapot, which was unreliable and smoked its way into the pit lane with regularity, and within a couple of seasons most people were heading the turbo route. There is Alexander Smolyar. He leads the way, and the gap up again, 0.6 of a second now, and he's just done a new fastest lap of the race. So Piastri, 2nd, falling away just a touch from his teammate. A third of the race done as they come onto the Hanger Straight once more. The gap last time, then 0.631, and they're heading up towards the end of the first sector. That takes them down to the approach to Stowe Corner, and within the first sector this time, 2/10 pulled out by Smolyar, getting away again from Piastri. Down through Vale they come, brake hard, turn left, and turn their way to the right-hander of Club Corner. Smolyar up front, Piastri second. Now Petr Potacek third. Can he do anything about those two ahead? His last lap wasn't as quick. In fourth place it is João Vieira, and then behind him was Callan O'Keefe. Now O'Keefe's last lap was a little bit slower than Vieira, but he did have to do some overtaking on that lap. Kushmini going through, but he is still in jeopardy. He's been losing places. He's lost another one now to Lorenzo Colombo, and the next person that comes up to challenge the troubled Mini is going to be there. Look, Victor Martins. To the outside line goes Martins. Into Village, can't find a way through there. Can the French driver squirt up the inside line going into the loop? Again, the answer is no. Mini, with whatever this problem is that's cost him all the ground and all the places, is at least able to cover that line. There is a driving standards flag now going to number 72, Xavier Loveras, for not respecting track limits at Cops Corner. Mini still under attack, look, from Martins. This is for 10th place now, but it's looking a bit more inevitable that the championship leader is going to find a way through. Into Woodcote Corner they come. Still pretty much nose to tail, those two. Now can Victor Martins now get into the slipstream and make the move? Behind the pair of them is 31 Patrick Pasma, the Arden driver, dropping back a little bit. Into Cops go the race leaders. The lead gap is 9/10 of a second, and there is Martins through the right-hander, applying the pressure all the while here to Mini. Brad Benavides, incidentally, did get into the race, but he's a long way back. He's a lap down, in fact, on the others. There, still together, Mini and Martins. They run together as they go onto the Hanger Straight. Up front, the leading gap is 9/10 of a second. Into the braking zone for Stowe Corner, they will turn. As to the inside line dives Martins. Kushmini unable to do anything about that. The door was left wide open. It does make you think that he's got a car which just hasn't got the pace anymore. He tries to fight back coming out of the corner, but there was very little defence offered up there as a place where you know if a car is close, they're going to try to overtake here at Silverstone. So Kushmini falls back, they're now into 11th place. Victor Martins into the top 10. That gives him 1 point for all his efforts, but at least he's scoring, if not very significantly. Ideally, he wants a safety car now to bring him back into the game, but I think too much time has been lost. Into Abbey he goes. Behind Mini now is Patrick Pasma, looking to try to gain ground. Up they come to the braking area for Village. Mini looks to the inside line of Martins, but he's about to get mugged. Look, because up the inside, easy peasy, comes Patrick Pasma. Wide will go Mini, another place lost. So the Indian driver, the man from Bangalore, continues to tumble down the order here. Now there turning through is car 12, Lorenzo Colombo, and he is making good progress here, trying to get himself up the order. Colombo inching forward, and he's now got himself ahead of 25, Leonardo Lorandi. So Colombo is up into 8th, down to 9th goes Leonardo Lorandi. 64 through is Callan O'Keefe. He is running in 5th place. But Smolyar's advantage is now over a second up front. Their car number 11 is Victor Martins. He rounds out the top 10. Kushmini down in 12th, and I just wonder whether he's going to lose any more ground by the end of this. He's still going, but he's out of the points. There, the two race leaders, and Smolyar weaving his way down Hanger Straight, trying to break the toe, so that if Piastri were getting a little bit nearer, he wouldn't benefit by being in the draft of the car ahead. Out of Stowe, down through Vale, but on this lap you would suspect that Piastri is looking quicker, is looking closer, and down he comes to the end of Vale, getting himself a bit nearer to the back of the leading car. Smolyar it is still ahead. Out of Club they go. Now there is Hugo de Wilde, who has got the Brazilian driver Charles Collet getting ever closer to him. Collet, last year's French Formula 4 champion. Down through Abbey they go. This is lap number 8, and we are into the second half of the timed part of the race, plus that one lap tacked on at the end. So where's the next shuffle going to come from? Lorenzo Colombo still working his way forward, dropping back still is Kushmini, and battle is on here, look, because up towards Village, right old battle pack, which includes, of course, Collet, Colombo, and further back there's the Martins, Pasma, Miney, Malvestiti train of cars as well. Out of the left-hander of Aintree, down Wellington Straight once more, fastest part of the circuit these days. You can get a good run out of Aintree, and of course this for the Grand Prix, one of the many DRS areas on the circuit, but you don't need that in Formula Renault, it's just down to driver ability. Out of Woodcote go the leaders, into Luffield goes this battle pack midfield, there down towards Copse Corner, however, goes 53, Petr Potacek, he's third, but he's under attack now, because Javiera is getting closer and closer all the time. O'Keefe is fifth, De Wilder is sixth, Collet is seventh, eighth is Colombo, ninth is Lorandi, and Martins in the background is 10th, there he goes. In fact, change that, because now Patrick Pasma is back up into 10th place. Victor Martins falls back into 11th spot as they round Copse Corner. There are the race leaders into the right of Stowe Corner. Piastri had got the gap down last time to 0.342 of a second, and he's staying on the tail now of Smolyar. So was this a plan to let Smolyar push and perhaps take the life out of the tyres, and maybe, therefore, in the second part of the race, Piastri can come back at him. That's the job done. Smolyar off the road, coming into Club Corner. Was that a mistake or a failure? Let's see, because he's not yet back on the road, and Smolyar has got a problem. Has he got a puncture, maybe? Either way, Smolyar is off the road. Tyres look okay, but something, I fear, has broken for him, because suddenly the car didn't want to turn, and Smolyar crawls not only off the circuit but into retirement. So Alexander Smolyar came here as a race winner, third in the championship. Look, comes at the end of Vale, it half turns and then doesn't want to turn anymore, as though something has broken, like he's whacked a curb somewhere, and the effect of that is to, for example, break the steering or break the suspension somewhere. But Alexander Smolyar then limps around the corner, but knows that with a broken car he is going no further, and he's out of the race. So suddenly it all changes, and Oscar Piastri, having been applying the pressure, now is the race leader. Piastri over the line. So he's now in a race of his own, because the fight behind him between Potacek and Vieira is nearly 7 seconds behind. So Piastri now just has to bring it home. Potacek is up to second, Vieira third, O'Keefe is fourth, De Wilder fifth, and sixth is Collet. There is number 31, Patrick Pasma, going through in ninth place now. Back up into the top 10, Victor Martins. So the demise of Smolyar, good for the championship's point of view for him, but also gives him another place. And there, 41, is Kushmini, getting ready for a new nose cone. Now, is that why he's been dropping back? Because the car, with a bit of damage, has become difficult to drive, and it's lost aero and therefore has lost pace. He's staying out there, but if he does come in and pit, he will lose a lot of time and therefore probably fall to the back of the pack. But Miney, for the moment, look, he's the cork in the bottle. Anybody that's got past him has got away, and everybody else, he's all stacked up behind him in a line. Down they come, into Stowe Corner, through goes 41. So Kushmini, with cars crawling all over him. There's Malvestiti, Overas, Baltas, Schott, Cordial, Frank Bird, all behind him, all looking for a way by. Down to the end of Vale now. We're on lap number 10, and we've got 10.5 minutes still to run. Out of Club Corner, back on the power, up past the Silverstone wing on the inside of the road. Change on the inside there, look, because through for Arden goes 32. So Frank Bird gains a place. That puts him up past Patrick Schott now. Kushmini still defending, making the car as wide as he possibly can, but for how much longer? Not much longer, because diving through is Malvestiti, but he overdoes it and goes out wide. One up and possibly two down here, because Malvestiti will lose another place as they dive onto Wellington Straight. Yves Baltas gets ahead of him. The race leader, however, Oscar Piastri, just ticking off the laps now. Down they come to the end of Wellington Straight. So Miney back up into the 11th spot that he was trying to hang on to. They all wriggle their way out of Brooklands up towards Luffield, but Miney expected in the pit lane. Is it going to happen this time? No, he stays out for another lap. So the car is clearly troubled, clearly struggling, but as yet there is no indication for the M2 competition team that he's going to come into the pit road. Piastri now leads by 7.5 seconds from Potacek. We've got 9 minutes on the clock. And there, whoops, drama at Copse Corner on the inside line. Lucas Leclerc tried to gain a place off Patrick Schott, looped it. Round he goes, back into the race. Didn't, of course, get the place he was trying to, but he doesn't lose anything else out of all of that. Here's the replay, up the inside. I don't think there was contact, but he just did not have the adhesion, and around he went. And 72, Xavier Lloveras is being given a 10-second penalty at the end of the race for track, which I assume means track limit abuse. So Lloveras down in 14th place, being given a 10-second penalty. Race leaders are on lap 11, and there is the fight going on for second place. Potacek now just keeping Vieira at bay. The race leader for the 11th time, Oscar Piastri, is on his way down Wellington Straight, leading by over 7.5 seconds. Kushmini in the meantime in 11th place, possibly thinking stay out because you're only a place off the points. If somebody up the road has a problem, and we've seen it can happen to Smolyar as an example, then he's got a point out of the race, but he's lost another place because this time through on the inside again. Yves Baltas, Malvestiti will come up to have a go as well. You've got Xavier Lloveras, the penalised Lloveras in the green car in this battle as well, almost getting in the way there of Ulrich Cordial. But Miney dropping and dropping and dropping. Sooner or later, surely he's bound for the pit lane. Down they come into Brooklands. And a big, big lock up there from Miney. You look at the front of the car, it doesn't actually look damaged. So the fact that they've got a new nose cone ready for him, still a little bit of a puzzle. This time it's a tight inside line from Miney, and he does go for the pit lane. So the team clearly feel that he should be in, but it's hard to see where the damage has come from. So Kushmini down the pit road, maybe he's reporting that the car's not handling very well. They think it's the front wing, but actually it's something else. Let's wait and see, but that's what they're going to try and change. Big, strong mechanic that. He's been hanging on to that bodywork for about 3 laps. Kushmini comes in. The M2 competition team is ready. Car jacked up. No, you don't even need to jack it up, do you, for this operation? Just try and pull the bodywork off, and a new nose section goes on. So that could cost him a lap, in fact, here against this man, Oscar Piastri, who the Australian leads the way. Second, oh so nearly changing there because Vieira comes up the inside of Potacek. But again, Patrick Potacek is able to fend him off. Potacek, the Czech driver, comes from Prague, and he's going to go to the outside line, is he? He does, but Vieira through on the inside of that fight that gives him second place. Patrick Potacek loses out. So João Vieira having his best race of the season, much, much quicker here than he was at Monza on his return to racing. So João Vieira, I know he's a rather distant second, but second he is, best of the rest. But they've all concertinaed behind now, because behind Potacek, who is down to third, there is O'Keefe and De Wilde, both of whom are looking to try to gain ground if they can. De Wilde there in the very distinctive blue and pink car, heading down Wellington Straight once more. Here they come, and they turn into the left-hander of Brooklands, but now that he's got up ahead of Potacek, can Vieira get away, and can O'Keefe and De Wilde find a way through as well? Let's see. If anything, they're going through Luffield. Potacek looks to be a little bit quicker, seem to catch back up onto the tail of the new second-place man, João Vieira. Over the line has gone the race leader. Oscar Piastri goes through. A flying lap is just under 2 minutes at the moment, and 24 minutes of the race are now done. Out of Copse Corner they go, and this is the run up towards Maggot to the left, and then the Beckett's S's. Onto the hanger straight goes Callan O'Keefe. Now let's see, his last lap was a 2:0 as against Potacek's 2:2, so he's very definitely closer. He can now benefit from the slipstream as they come down towards Stowe Corner. At the end of sector 1, O'Keefe was 7,000 slower, in fact, just lost a hint of time. He's got De Wilde closing up on him as well, so that battle's not yet resolved. De Wilde in turn has got Charcolet next in the queue, closing onto the tail of him. Out of club. Vieira still trying to get away. He won't make up the 10.5 seconds against Piastri, surely. but he would like to get away from Potacek. De Wilde wants to get past O'Keefe, but he in turn is being given a hard time by Collett here as they round Farm up towards Village. Lap 13 currently we are on, fastest lap to the one retirement of the race, Alexander Smolyar. Into the loop, closing up under braking. Collett onto the back of De Wilde, who accelerates now through Aintree onto Wellington Straight once again. This is the run down towards the left-hander at Brooklands. And the race leader, Oscar Piastri, almost in tomorrow's race. So far ahead is he. There's another driving standards flag coming, and this time it's for Callan O'Keefe for not respecting track limits. Now, that's rather more significant because if he has another track limit incident, the penalty will be more draconian, and that could well cost him what is currently 4th place on the road. Leader goes through, Piastri up front. Let's see what the gap is this time over Vieira, who's had to do the overtaking, and it's 11 seconds. There he is in 2nd place. Potacek 3rd, O'Keefe, De Wilde, Collett. That's the order in the top 6. They round Copse. 7th is Colombo. 8th there is Leonardo Lorandi. Patrick Pasma, 9th, having yo-yoed up and down the order. 10th, it remains Victor Martin. So the man that came here as the championship leader, not yet a winner, but a good consistent weekend at Monza, losing out and understeering De Wilde turns through the final part of Beckett's. And now onto Hanger Straight once more, but De Wilde is defending rather more than he can attack here. Down they come in towards Stowe Corner. Ugo De Wilde turns his way into the right, and now down through Vale once again. But actually, of the two of them, Collett looking the quicker. Is he going to be able to make a move at the end of Vale? Thinks about one side, thinks about the other, trying to unsettle the Belgian. But the Brazilian right on his tail then as they come into the right-hander. Where's the gap on the inside? Let's see. Well, if there was a gap, certainly Collett wasn't able to take full advantage of it, that's for sure. Past the wing they come, now into the right-hander, going into Abbey. So Ugo De Wilde having to make this car wide, and by defending, in danger of losing touch with O'Keefe. So Callan O'Keefe 4th, concentrating on Potacek, but he's dropped back a little bit over the last lap and a half or so. Potacek having lost 2nd, admittedly, but he's regrouped and he's looking a bit more secure in 3rd place now. Down Wellington Straight they go once more. There you can see how Vieira has got away. And how many more laps are they going to squeeze out of this? There will be time for one more within the timed element of the race, because Piastri has just gone over the line. So the clock should hit 0 at the end of this lap, and then there'll be the regulation lap. In other words, 2 more racing laps to go. There's Vieira down towards Copse, turns right. Potacek 3rd, O'Keefe 4th, and actually De Wilde is back on his tail. There, 8th, is Leonardo Lorandi, who's looked a bit subdued in this race. I know he's made progress from his grid position, but he's never really been able to make a lot of progress. It was all done early on. He then lost a place, didn't he, to Lorenzo Colombo, and there he has plateaued. Out of Beckett's goes Ugo De Wilde. So number 27, the JD Motorsport car, heads through Chapel Curve onto the Hanger Straight once more. João Vieira getting away in that 2nd place. So the South American F4, Italian F4 driver hangs on the 2nd spot, good karting pedigree. Also coming out ahead of the Brazilian battle here with Charles Collett, the opposition. Another driving standards flag for track limit abuse is for Kushmaini, who has rejoined after his pit stop, but he's way back in 18th place now. There is Collett, who all of a sudden finds Lorenzo Colombo right on his tail. So Collett, who a couple of corners back was attacking De Wilde, now has to go defensive because Colombo is right there behind him as they come up towards Abbey. Is this going to be an opportunity to challenge? Let's see as they go into the corner. Not there, it's not. But suddenly there is pressure being applied to the Brazilian. Can Colombo find a way through? They brake hard up towards Village, and Lorenzo Colombo then, who was 6th in the championship last year, looking to try to find a way past last year's French Formula 4 champion, Charles Collett. Again, onto Wellington Straight. They'll break the beam at the end of the middle sector and into the left of Brooklands. But ahead of all of this, Oscar Piastri is coming into Woodcote Corner, and he's about, therefore, to go on to what will be the last lap of the race, because as he goes across the timing line, the clock has just hit 0, and this should, therefore, put him onto the last lap of the race. Confirmation, he is through Copse for the last time. So it is Piastri up front and João Vieira going through in 2nd place, but it's a very distant 2nd, 12 seconds. The gap's just widening all the time. possibly, though, Vieira, to give him credit, is thinking now about the fact that he is going to settle for the points. And Callan O'Keefe is being given a 10-second penalty for track limit. So this is significant. O'Keefe is 4th on the road, and Ugo de Wilde and others should gain a place at the end because they are so close to that car. They will benefit. And so Callan O'Keefe, for track limit abuse, repeated track limit abuse, is being given that 10-second penalty. I mentioned that he was being warned about it, and well, he's carried on, and therefore more reports of track limit abuse come, and therefore 10-second penalty to Callan O'Keefe. There he is, down towards the right hand of Stoke corner, 4th on the road, but he's going to tumble back down the field. He will end up, I will offer you, in about 12th place. Let's see whether that is the case. At the end of it, there's confirmation. 10-second penalty to be added to the time of Callan O'Keefe for track limit abuse as the leaders now turn up through the right of club corner, heading up towards Abbey. That very, very fast right flick, perhaps more than a corner, and then you go left through far. But Oscar Piastri has driven a very impressive second half of the race. You could argue that the start wasn't perfect because he did lose out against Smolyar off the start, and had Alexander Smolyar not had a problem, could Piastri have fought back? He was catching, but that might have been because of Smolyar's difficulties. Well, either way, I'm sure Piastri will take the win and be very happy with it because he had done the hard work in qualifying this morning. For our race GP, Oscar Piastri is about to come through and score a race win here. Accelerates now up towards Woodcote corner. Race 3 of Formula Renault Eurocup, and our third different winner. Oscar Piastri wins at Silverstone. The Australian driver is victorious, and look at the gap he's got over anybody else. Here they come into Woodcote. João Vieira, in his return to racing this year, he's going to be second across the line. Patacek, O'Keefe, de Wilde and Collett on the road. But then we'll wait and see where that penalty is going to drop Callan O'Keefe. He was 15.9 seconds behind the race leader, so in real terms he's going to be 25.999 seconds behind the race leader. And so, although he came over the line in 4th place, still they feel pouring through. He's going to actually end up, I offer you, in 8th place, looking at the penalty. Patrick Pasma delayed on his last lap, losing ground. So for Callan O'Keefe, it's now amended. He's 8th indeed, and so that means Patacek consolidates 3rd, but Ugo de Wilde gains 4th, up to 5th goes Collett, up to 6th Colombo, up to 7th Lorandi, down to 8th goes Callan O'Keefe with that penalty. But for Oscar Piastri, a race that came to him, whether he would have been able to get onto terms with Alexander Smolyar, perhaps only they know. The net result is that it is a win for number 1, Oscar Piastri, from, in 2nd place, João Vieira, and then Petra Patacek in 3rd place. They get a separate standalone qualifying session tomorrow morning. That, in turn, will dictate the grid for the 2nd Formula Renault Eurocup race. Last year's fastest lap was for the older generation of car, 1:56. Today, 1:59. In these conditions, so slightly different pace from the 1.8-litre turbo cars. But to confirm the way that the race finished then, a win for Oscar Piastri ahead of João Vieira, and then in 3rd place Petra Patacek. 4th goes the way of Ugo de Wilde, ahead of João Collett, Lorenzo Colombo and Leonardo Lorandi, all of whom got ahead of Callan O'Keefe with his 10-second penalty. Patrick Pasma 9th, Victor Martins 10th, ahead of Yves Valpas. Federico Malvestiti was 12th from Amaury Cordial, Patrick Schott 14th, and Frank Bird finishing in 15th position. Behind him, there was newcomer to the series this weekend, Lucas Aleko Roy, ahead of the other penalised drivers, Xavier Lloveras. Kush Maini, still on the lead lap, but a rather distant 18th. Brad Benavides joined in a lap down from the pit lane, and Alexander Smolyar was the one retirement when he was in the lead as well, just to add insult to injury. But Oscar Piastri has done an excellent job, and he will, in a few moments' time, make his way towards the presentation Parc Ferme area as, no doubt, a very happy race winner. So there is Piastri, comes now down the pit road, and although, as I say, they do have another qualifying and another race to go tomorrow, celebrations might be allowable this evening. Piastri, Vieira and Patacek, Australia, Brazil and the Czech Republic, the nationalities. And the drivers will in a moment step from the cars. Go back to 2008 when Formula Renault Eurocup came here. The two race winners that weekend, Valtteri Bottas and Daniel Ricciardo. So as ever, you're looking at the stars of tomorrow. And Oscar Piastri, the Australian driver, a very happy man. We'll try and get to the bottom before tomorrow of exactly what happened to Alexander Smolyar, but very, very disappointing that he had that retirement, especially because he was in the lead at the time. Big disappointment for him. So celebrations all round. And that's Petr Potacek going much, much better than at Monza. If you take the results and have a look at who he's wearing the championship, Piastri 7th, Vieira 10th equal, Potacek didn't score, certainly not get into the top 10. De Wilde came here 4th equal and 4th in the race, so not a bad haul of points for him. The man that was 10th equal, Charles Collet, ends up finishing 5th. Lorenzo Colombo coming home 6th. He was 6th in the championship. 7th, Lorandi. He was 2nd coming into the race. So nobody really having a consistent Monza and a consistent first Silverstone race. They're all up and down a bit. So drivers there go to the way area. And then we'll hopefully grab a word with Oscar Piastri before we get to the podium for race 3, the 3rd round within Formula Renault Eurocup, and the sole British event, of course. And we'll try and hear the thoughts of race winner Oscar Piastri, as I say, in a moment or two, because that's an important win for him. Certainly coming on the back of a slightly frustrating Monza, especially race 1, where there was damage and he had to make a pit stop for a new wing. So Oscar Piastri, our 3rd different winner of the year. He's with Dakota Jane.
Oscar, you must be delighted with that race. What a fantastic race from you. Good performance, good pace all the way through.
Yeah, obviously not quite the way I planned on winning with my teammate breaking down. Yeah, made a bit of a mess of the start, but yeah, I think Alex broke something when he went off at turn 5. So yeah, staying on the track proved dividends then.
Did this give you good confidence for the next race?
Yep, sure does. My last win was actually at Silverstone, so good to get another one. It's been a while between trips, and hopefully it can be a regular occurrence now.
Congratulations.
A good job done by Oscar Piastri, and he will make his way shortly up to the podium at the end of this first Formula Renault Eurocup race of the weekend, race 2, tomorrow morning here at Silverstone. So they qualify early and then go racing, and let's see whether Alexander Smolyar is going to be able to fight back perhaps right or wrong that he might feel has been made today. So as the drivers, as I say, head up towards the podium, we can have a look at the highlights of race 1. When the lights went out, we had that amazing opening lap. Smolyar and Piastri running side by side pretty much for the bulk of it. The two teammates determined to try and hang on to the advantage. There was drama at Beckett's on the first lap. There's a number of them ran off the road, including Charles Collet, but Smolyar eventually put himself in the lead and then had this problem, this breakage, which meant he ran wide coming out of the approach to club and parked the car and was a retirement. He wasn't the only person in strife. Lucas Aleko-Roy, for example, had this spin going through Copse Corner. But once up front, Piastri was getting away. Kushmini had the car vibrating, came in to change the nose section and dropped back into 18th place. But Oscar Piastri came through to score what looked like, in the end, a very easy win, over 12.5 seconds clear. So the drivers are ready at the back of the podium, and on instruction they will be brought forward very shortly indeed, ready for the presentations at the end of this first Formula Renault Eurocup race of the weekend. Oscar Piastri explaining exactly what happened as Petr Potacek steps forward. He's determined to get on the podium, isn't he? Comes forward, but not yet, not yet. Also got the winning rookie there, which I think we will have the podium just about ready. So the drivers take on some liquid and await instruction. So once the officials are happy, I think they've got everybody they need and the podium should be dressed. So now the podium ceremony can get underway for the first Formula Renault Eurocup race of the weekend here at Silverstone. And it means that for third place, Petr Potacek will be called forward first of all, and make his way now out on to the podium for the third step. For second place, it is going to be João Vieira, who will come forward. And then for the top step, Oscar Piastri, who was a winner here in British Formula 4 and wins in Formula Renault 2 years on. So Oscar Piastri steps forward as a very happy man. And as he said, perhaps not the ideal way to win a race, but a win is a win, and it's points for the championship, which is all important. The Renault dignitaries are there. And of course, we also still have the winning team to be represented. And RHGP takes the win here as we have the national anthem of the winning driver. Or possibly not, given that Oscar is an Australian and the British national anthem is being played. But let's have it as a Commonwealth anthem, shall we? And turn a blind eye. So the British national anthem for an Australian driver, Oscar Piastri, who will take the win and take the anthem, but less than ideal. But anyway, a win is a win, and it's not like he doesn't know the tune to the Australian national anthem. He can sort of have it in his head, and he will receive his winner's trophy. But Oscar Piastri victorious at Silverstone. And as I say, in the end, because the battle had been going on behind him, he was able to just drive off into the distance and win by over 12.5 seconds. João Vieira receives the trophy for second place. João, after a couple of seasons on the sidelines, will be delighted with that because it proves he's not at all race rusty. Petr Potacek is looking as though all his rabbits have died at the other end of the podium, looking decidedly glum. He was running in third place early on. That became second, and then he ended up dropping back into third. But even so, it's better pace than at Monza. So Potacek trying to force a smile, but he's on the podium, so he shouldn't be too downcast about it all. But as far as the race winner is concerned, Oscar Piastri, it's his day at Silverstone. And now the trophies, because you get some from Renault and others from Hankook, being presented as well. João Vieira is the winning rookie, and so he receives that. I know he's raced in other things, but it's his first year in Formula Renault Eurocup, and so he receives the rookie award. Second place overall. RHGP gets yet another trophy for the team's cabinet. And as far as the drivers are concerned, it is smiles all round. They'll probably get together on the podium in a moment on the top step for the group photograph. And hopefully Petr Potacek can look a bit more cheerful about life, because, as I say, third is not a bad effort. Certainly much, much better paced events here than in Italy. And honorary Brit, Oscar Piastri, stands in the middle as the winner of race 3 of Formula Renault Eurocup here at Silverstone. Now, they're done for today, so does that mean that they get a spray or keep? Are they of an age even to drink? Racing drivers get younger all the time. The dignitaries skedaddle off the podium, and they are going to spray. Oscar Piastri wants to enjoy this win, and João Vieira likewise, after 2 years on the sidelines, to come back with a podium at your second event is a pretty decent result. And now Petr Potacek forces a bigger smile, which is good to see. So well done, Oscar Piastri. He wins race 1 in Formula Renault Eurocup here at Silverstone this weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow for more action here from Silverstone. For now, from David Addison, it's goodbye. And well done.